Chase Elliott wins his third straight Most Popular Driver award. Matt Kenseth says he is done racing full time, and the Truck Series schedule is full of surprises. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric, and welcome to Out of the Groove. Busy week in the world of NASCAR. Is it the off-season yet? I figured once the off-season rolled around, with the holidays coming up and everything, I thought there'd be, a 2 or 3 week stretch at least where people were mostly quiet. But no, my goodness, so much is happening this week. If you missed my video yesterday, I recapped both days of the next-gen test this week. We talked about what the car looked like on the road course, what it looked like on the oval, and the significant differences between the two tests. So if you missed that episode, go check that out from yesterday. Tomorrow, Sam Mayer, defending ARCA Menards East Series champion, will join the show. Great to hear from one of NASCAR's youngest and most up-and-coming promising young stars, but that will be in tomorrow's episode. Today, we're talking about a lot. We're going to start out talking about the award show. We're going to talk about Matt Kenseth's comments he made to his home state's official newspaper, and we're going to spend the bulk of this episode looking at the newly released 2021 Camping World Truck Series schedule. There are some surprises and perhaps some disappointments depending on who you ask, so we will get to that in just a few minutes. But like I said, we're going to start out with the 2020 NASCAR Awards, held virtually this year. They aired them Wednesday night on NBCSN. It was pre-recorded from what I understand. Full disclosure, I did not watch it. And it was my birthday, I was having dinner and everything like that, so I had a good reason to miss it, but it sounds like I caught up on all the highlights. They announced the Most Popular Driver award winners for not only the Cup Series, but also the Xfinity and Trucks. Congratulations, Zane Smith, winning Most Popular Truck Series driver. Justin Allgaier wins Most Popular Driver in the Xfinity Series. And no surprise, Chase Elliott wins his third straight Most Popular Driver award in the NASCAR Cup Series. Congratulations to the best of the popularist of the popular. But congratulations to Chase Elliott, following in his father's footsteps. NASCAR also awarded Jimmy Johnson with the Bill France Award of Excellence. Well-deserved, obviously, 7-time champion. It's great that they were able to honor him at the end of the season here. Jimmy Johnson, as we've talked about repeatedly on the show, did not quite get the send-off I think he deserved with COVID and limited fans at most of the races this year. So it's good to see NASCAR go out of their way to show him the respect he deserves at their end-of-season award show. Hopefully this time next year, they'll be able to do it in person again, back in Nashville or wherever they do it. That would be fun. Hopefully we can see that, because from what I saw, the virtual award show lacked some pizzazz. Not saying that the in-person award show has been super exciting to watch in recent years either, but I don't know, that's it. Looking forward to next year's, hopefully. Now, if you don't mind indulging me for a couple minutes so I can talk about my boy, Matt Kenseth. Matt Kenseth spoke to the Wisconsin State Journal earlier this week, and he definitively stated that he is not planning on racing full-time ever again, but he does drop a couple very interesting hints. Here's what Matt Kenseth had to say. "I can say with almost 100% certainty that my days in professional racing, at least full-time professional racing, are over. I look forward to doing late model stuff or IMSA or something like that, a little bit here or there. As far as NASCAR racing, full-time or professional racing, those days are behind me." As we all know, this year Matt Kenseth shockingly returned to NASCAR to replace Kyle Larson after he was suspended. Matt Kenseth raced the final 32 races of the Cup schedule, and aside from a couple standout performances, the season was extremely forgettable for us Matt Kenseth fans. Matt Kenseth is 48 years old, was the oldest full-time driver in the Cup Series field this year. Not surprising at all to hear him say that he's probably done racing full-time, but I find it very interesting that he opens the door to late models, which I saw him race in person last year. He raced a couple super late model races last summer, but I also thought it was interesting that he mentions IMSA. Nobody really thinks of Matt Kenseth as a road course specialist, because road course specialist he is not. Matt Kenseth does have one IMSA start to his credit. He raced in the 2005 Rolex 24. Gosh, 15 years ago now, but really interesting to hear Matt Kenseth open those possibilities. I would not be shocked if we see him run some more late model or super late model races at some point or another, kind of one-offs here and there. His son, Ross Kenseth, has actually stepped back into the driver's seat recently. I believe he's entered in a couple super late model races down. I know he raced at Five Flag Speedway recently. I think finished like 7th in his first time back in the car in like 5 years. So well, you never know. The Kenseths are still around. They're still going to be at the racetrack from time to time, but it sounds like Matt Kenseth is not planning on racing NASCAR, especially not full-time, ever again, which I'm sad as a Matt Kenseth fan, a longtime Matt Kenseth fan, but at the same time, it's understandable, especially after the trials we went through in 2020. My goodness. I'm a big Matt Kenseth fan. He's obviously a future NASCAR Hall of Famer, the 2003 Series champion. I hope this is not the last time we see him behind the wheel of some sort of race car. Hey, you never know. Maybe he calls up his old acquaintance. I don't know if that's the right phrase. They've had some run-ins. Maybe he calls up Tony Stewart, and perhaps we see Matt Kenseth enter into the superstar racing experience. I don't know. That might be right up Matt Kenseth's alley. You never know. I'm going to throw that out there. That would be cool. But now, Godspeed to Matt Kenseth. Fantastic career. Didn't end great the last year or so he was in Cup, but fantastic career nonetheless. A future Hall of Famer. Gonna miss seeing you on the track, buddy. Good luck. All right, now we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. We're going to look at the 2021 NASCAR Camping World Truck Series schedule that was released yesterday. But first, earlier in the week, it was already leaked, it was already reported that Eldora Speedway would be taken off the Truck Series schedule next year. Obviously, the 2020 race was canceled amid the pandemic, and it led to speculation months ago that Eldora may be on the way out. Eldora confirmed to its ticket holders earlier this week, sending them a letter saying that yes, they have been taken off the NASCAR Truck Series schedule. They will not host any NASCAR events in 2021. Came as a massive disappointment to many fans of the Ohio short dirt track. The Eldora Dirt Derby has become almost like a crown jewel on the NASCAR truck schedule since it debuted in 2013. It was a revolutionary event at the time. It's perhaps lost some of its luster over the years. If you even look at the TV ratings the last 3 or so years, they've steadily declined a little bit. Last year's race drew in less than 500,000 viewers on FS1. Not bad numbers by Truck Series standards by any means, but it's clear the event had maybe lost some of its prestige, or at least some of the hype in recent years. But still, it was a race I look forward to every year, and I know a lot of other hardcore NASCAR fans love seeing it as well. It was so different. Eldora Speedway is, of course, owned by Tony Stewart. There's been a lot of speculation and rumors as to maybe how this falling out happened. Was it Tony Stewart's decision to just bail NASCAR? Was it NASCAR's decision to bail on Tony Stewart? How did this work? I'm not going to speculate too heavily. You know, there's a theory that Tony Stewart starting up that new series, the SRX with Ray Everham, maybe that rubbed NASCAR the wrong way. They maybe view it as a competitor. SRX is likely going to race at Eldora at some point. Maybe, though, Tony Stewart was the one who was angry. Maybe Stewart heard about NASCAR's plans to turn Bristol into a dirt race, and Tony Stewart's lobbied for Cup and Xfinity to come to Eldora. Maybe NASCAR said, no, we're not doing that. We're bringing them to Bristol where we can fit 100,000 people. And maybe that rubbed Tony Stewart the wrong way. Maybe he pulled out altogether. I don't really understand how that would make any business sense for Tony Stewart to pull out of NASCAR. I don't know. There's a lot of potential behind the scenes drama. All we know is that Eldora will not be on the NASCAR schedule next year, and its future in NASCAR seems quite uncertain at the moment. But rest assured, the NASCAR Truck Series will still race on dirt next year. In fact, they're going to race on dirt twice. NASCAR released the 2021 Camping World Truck Series schedule yesterday. Let's look at the highlights. The season will open at Daytona, then they'll head to Homestead Miami Speedway, one stop on the West Coast swing, that's Las Vegas, then Atlanta, and then the 5th race of the season, they will be a part of the Bristol Dirt Track Weekend. They will race there Saturday, March 27th. That will be the first of 2 dirt races the Truck Series will have next season. Xfinity will not race on the Bristol Dirt Track next year, so it'll just be trucks on Saturday, Cup on Sunday. Still going to be an extremely interesting weekend. We've already talked about turning Bristol into dirt for the Cup cars. It's going to be wacky. You see some other dates listed there. The NASCAR Truck Series will also race at Circuit of the Americas, the road course in Austin. That will be a triple header weekend. Cup, Xfinity, and Trucks will all take on that track for the first time, so that will be exciting. The Trucks will also race at Nashville Super Speedway, a part of that weekend. They will also be a part of the Pocono double header weekend. They will race Saturday that weekend, and then after that, the second dirt race on the schedule, they're heading to Knoxville Raceway in Iowa, the home of the world famous Knoxville Nationals. This is a big surprise. I'll be honest, I didn't realize Knoxville was ever on the table. The Truck and Xfinity Series are leaving Iowa Speedway next season, unfortunately, but they're not leaving the state of Iowa. They're going to be racing at Knoxville Raceway. That's crazy. So there's still going to be a half-mile dirt track. That's not Bristol, purpose-built dirt track on the Truck schedule next year. Effectively, this is basically replacing Eldora. I don't know enough about the Speedway to know if it's going to suit the trucks better or worse than Eldora. I mean, it's a half-mile dirt track. That's all I really know. The capacity's it seats a little over 20,000 people, which is probably about right for a typical Truck Series crowd these days. It's interesting. 2 of the 22 races on next year's truck schedule will be dirt races. You talk about variety. Knoxville Raceway is known as the sprint car capital of the world, but next summer, the NASCAR trucks are rolling into town. The race is reportedly going to be promoted by Spire, the same group that owns Spire Motorsports on the Cup Series side, the same group that represents a number of Cup Series drivers, as far as public relations are concerned. So that's kind of interesting that they're the ones promoting that race. Again, I didn't realize Knoxville Raceway was even an option. Last couple of years when I've paid more attention to sprint cars and dirt racing, the Knoxville Nationals, that's a bucket list event event to attend. Hopefully trucks next year can capture some of that magic, but the facility seems great. I'm excited to see what happens. And the surprises don't end there. The regular season finale next year will be at Watkins Glen. The trucks will return to the Glen for the first time since the year 2000. Heck yes, this is gonna be fun. I missed Watkins Glen this year, not getting to see any of the series race there. So next year getting to see trucks return, that's cool. After that, the playoffs start. Gateway's still on the schedule, so is Canadian Tire. Then there's normal asphalt Bristol, that's on the schedule. And then the season, of course, will end at Phoenix Raceway. Phoenix is once again the home of championship weekend for all three series. But there you have it, a basic look at the 22-race NASCAR Camping World Truck Series schedule. That's right, they did take one date off the schedule. The last several years, there have been 23 races on the truck schedule, down to 22 next year. Not entirely sure why. I mean, obviously NASCAR is not going to like Chicagoland next year. They're not going to Iowa. Trucks usually go to Texas twice. There's only one Texas listed there. Obviously, one of those Texas states, I guess, has been replaced by Circuit of the Americas. Darlington's been added to the schedule, which it's usually not on the schedule. This year it was out of necessity, but usually Darlington's not. I guess they dropped Eldora, but they added Knoxville. They replaced Dover, I guess, with Nashville, Super Speedway, since they're owned by the same company. I'm trying to figure out what they would have lost, why there's one less race. I guess Michigan? Trucks usually race in Michigan. There's no Michigan on there, is there? I guess that's where the one race was lost, probably, was that was losing Michigan. Interesting. Well, 22 races, one less than usual next year. I don't know if this is going to become the norm, the going norm for the truck series, or how it's going to work, but yeah, down from 23 to 22 races. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's not like they dropped 4 races or 6 races or something crazy from the schedule, just one. You know, next year is very unpredictable still. It might have just been tough to come to some agreements. I have no idea. If I ignore that aspect, I actually really like this truck series schedule. There's a lot of variety next year. 2 new dirt tracks, a new road course. Well, they're bringing Watkins Glen back as well. It's almost like 2 new road courses, really. They're racing the Nashville Super Speedway, which is neat. There's a lot of variety on next year's schedule, so I'm actually extremely excited about it. I mean, the Cup Series schedule, fantastic. The Xfinity schedule, great. Truck Series schedule is also great. The only negative is that it's one race less, which I don't know, may mean less revenue for teams. That's in one weekend that they were hoping to sell sponsorship for, hoping to get payouts and purse money for, that they're not going to. I don't know how that's going to affect, especially some of the smaller Truck Series teams, but it could be worse. It could have been like a 3 or 4 race deduction. Instead, it's only one. So it is what it is. Just sort of fits with the general downsizing trend we're seeing in a lot of NASCAR series these days. But like I said, a very exciting schedule for trucks. We now know all 3 NASCAR National Series schedules for 2021 at long last. That's something we've all been asking for a very long time, but it's extremely important, especially for Xfinity and truck teams. When they're trying to sell sponsorship to stay in business, it's important to know the schedule months in advance so they can begin those negotiations as soon as possible. It's really hard to sell sponsors on a race that doesn't yet exist on the schedule. Now the schedule is public. Hopefully that helps out some of those truck and Xfinity series teams that are looking to sell sponsorship to hopefully stay in business and stay competitive. So great to hear this news. Great to see what the schedule looks like. A lot of exciting additions to it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Which addition to the schedule is your favorite? What race that maybe is being lost is the one you're most bummed about? Let me know what you think of the truck series schedule down in the comments below. That's all I've got for today's Friday edition of Out of the Groove. Be sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel. We talk NASCAR every single day. The news does not seem to be slowing down, so Out of the Groove does not slow down either. Thank you all for the support, and as always, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters. I could not do this show without your tremendous support. Sam Mayer joins the show tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. Plenty more to come next week on Out of the Groove. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you again very, very soon.